Hello, and welcome to my shop, Spindle TV. I'm your host, Laney Shaughnessy, as always. And tonight we are going to discuss the chest of drawers build. We're going to look at the design adjustments and changes that we made. We're going to talk about why I made those changes, and then we're going to do some Q&A. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. I'm happy to answer. And we're going. I jumped in a little bit early. It's only 7:06. We don't really kick things off until 7:15. But reason why is because my microphone is mounted on top of my camera, and I just want to make sure that you can hear me. I do have heaters running in the shop because it is cold out here. And so I want to make sure that the heaters aren't getting picked up too much in the microphones, causing any audio issues. So for those of you that are here, and hey, greetings Brooks, and Kool-Aid and Resorter and all, let me know about the audio and things, because I want to make sure everybody can hear me and can hear me clearly and stuff, and everything. So good. But yes, we're not going to get to see each other before Thursday, so for those of you that celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. Hope you have fun with friends and family and lots of food, and really enjoy your time. I think that's going to be good. Camaro, I think you're in further South Florida, aren't you? It's cold up here right now. It's 52 degrees, man. And in my shop, it feels colder than that right now. But it's chilly. I'm layered up already with some warm clothes. But yeah, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and I hope you have fun, safe holidays. And hey, there's still 2 more days left. Check out Build It TV. There's a special on Thanksgiving projects. Get a I think an 11 pack of models and projects and stuff. Check it out. The project in itself, I'll kind of just start, just kind of chat a little bit. It's been a while since I've taken on a project this big, as far as, not big, just getting back to filming in my videos. For those of you that don't know, quite a few years ago, I moved over to Spindle TV, this channel here, and I hadn't posted any full build videos on my other channel. It's been 6 years since my last upload. So the build video, the full build of this, is going to be on the other channel. The other channel is basically my name, Laney Shaughnessy, on YouTube. Pretty soon it'll be branded or rebranded to Build It TV, as soon as YouTube changes the way that they do custom URLs and things like that. But it was nice to be able to kind of get back in the shop and build again. But I haven't bought wood in forever. Usually I get my logs milled up and they're air dried, and I use that lumber that I have and stuff. But I went out and I bought some select pine boards, and this is some of the scraps. But I bought some select pine boards to build this, and I about had sticker shock at the price of the wood and everything. Yeah, it was kind of shocking. So any support that you can give to the channel and Build It TV, buy some models, because I've got to recoup. But yeah, I about fell out at the register. The woman thought she's gonna have to call 911. I was about to have a heart attack. I was like, oh my goodness. But it was well worth it. The project is going along great. We're going to get up and change cameras here in a minute and talk more about it. But I'm just kind of we've got about 3 more minutes till we officially get rolling, and then we'll go in. But if you have any questions, okay, before your question, put a question mark so I can see that in the chat easily, and I know it's a question for me. You know, if you're asking questions for anyone else, you know, if y'all are having a conversation and stuff, you don't need to do that. But if it's a question for me, put a question mark or two. I don't care. Put a question mark in front of your question, like actually in the front. It's kind of, you know, so that way I can pick it out of the chat very easily and stuff. And we'll go from there. Hey, Crystal. Hope you and Camaro have a good Thanksgiving. Hope things are going well. And Michael. Hey, Michael, if Michael's watching. Hey, Michael. How's it going? All right. So, yeah, but man, I was a little shocked. Now, of course, you know, I bought screws and hardware and stuff like that and glue and all, so it wasn't all wood. But, yeah, I got to the register and I had my cart and my wood and my boards and, you know, and everything, and I was checking out, and I asked the woman, I said, "Did you ring that up more than once?" She said, "No." And so I made her go. I was like, I wasn't being a pain in the butt or anything, but I'm like, "Can you go through that again?" And because I didn't do the math in my head as I was shopping. And she said, so she did. She's real nice. The people at Lowe's, you know, they know me very well. So I was like, you know, it's been a while. And, but yeah. Yeah. That was an expensive trip. $902. $902 for this project. All for you guys. Now, of course, I'm going to be using the desk, right, in the chest of drawers. I'm building it for me. But it's all for you. But yeah, man, I about fell out of my chair. I was like, holy moly. So, but I'll tell you one thing. Now, I will say this. My next build is going to be an assembly bench, a workbench. That's the one thing my small shop doesn't have, is an assembly bench. So my table saw becomes an all-purpose surface. It's my table saw, it's my assembly bench, it's my glue-up bench, and it's not ideal, but I'm in a small environment. I mean, I can literally almost reach the sides of the walls here. And the lack of a workbench, every shop should have some kind of workbench, right? I think that's a staple. Besides the table saw, a workbench is a staple in the shop. And I haven't built one, I haven't made one, and I'm really trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. But I'm building one because the glue up was the hard. Everything else was fine, but the glue up and everything was the most tricky part. You'll see in the video, but it was the most tricky part with this by not having like a good assembly table. So that's going to be my next build, I think, for this full-length build videos, is an assembly bench. It's definitely going to have some drawer space for sure, that assembly bench is. That way I can remove some stuff and put them in the drawers and maybe make some room for the bench. That's important. All right, it is time to kick things off. First of all, let's jump over to the Vectric software. Now, I'm in my shop, so I'm not in my office environment where I have my setup, where I have my green screen behind me and stuff like that. So unfortunately, when I switch to the Vectric channel, I'm not going to be down in the bottom left corner or right corner or whatever like you're used to. But I'm still here. You're going to hear my voice and everything. But let's jump over to the design itself, and let's talk about the design, and then I'm going to talk to you about the design changes that I did in Vectric for the carving part. Which is the most important. And then again, if you have questions about anything, you know, ask the questions. Put a question mark in front of your question so I know it's a question, and we'll go from there. But let's go ahead and switch over to the design here. And so this is when we last left, the Tuesday before last. When we last left off, we had this design started, but we did not have it completed. I didn't have the drawer fronts or the desk or any of that stuff on. So I'm going to give you a 360-degree view of this. This is what the design is going to look like. We're going to make the corbels so I can carve them on the CNC tonight. We're going to make those and everything, and I think I'm just going to go with some basic ones. But the chest of drawers is going to have cherry wood for the desk that connects the two cabinets, for the tops, and for the trim. The rest of the cabinets are going to be painted white. And let's see. It's just the back, right? The back and everything in there. So that's the design in its finished state. Now let's take away some things. Let me get back to. I'm not working here. Let's hide this, and I should have hid this one. Hide that. All right. Now, for the drawer fronts and everything, I have these spacers, 3/4 inch by 2 inch spacers here, that is going to attach to the inside of the cabinet walls, so that the drawer slides will attach to them on the other side, and then to the drawers and all. It's full length drawer slides. We'll talk about those more in a minute. So I haven't gotten the spacers put in yet. That's kind of the next scene in the video. And let's pop back to me for a second here. The drawer slides that I ended up going with were ProMark soft pull full extension drawer slides. Soft close, not soft pull. But the ProMark full extension drawer slides, I really like them, and they're, you know, they work well when they close up. But that's what I went with, and I went with 14 inch because my cabinet's 15 inches. We'll talk about that a little bit more too. So I've got all my drawer slides. I got a good deal on these on Amazon. They come in a 10 pack of these ProMark drawer slides, 10 pairs, 10 of these. It was $87 for a 10 pack, and a set of these at Lowe's is $16 and some change. So I don't know if I saved a little bit of money by getting the 10 pack or not. I didn't do the math or anything on that, but I ended up going on Amazon and getting the ProMark drawer slides. And I was really debating on the handle for the drawer slides. I was really debating on, do I want a kind of a pull handle or do I want a knob? I kind of settled on the knob, even though the front of the cabinet is 19 inches or 20 inches and all. I think I'm going to go with a pull, and what I ended up going with was this kind of brushed, let's see if we can get some light on the camera there, this brushed bronze kind of pull. That's what I ended up going with for the hardware. So I think that will that'll be good. I'll end up doing a kind of a test drawer front with this on there and everything. I'm not actually going to drill a hole in one of the good drawer fronts. I'll do a test one. I got a piece, scrap piece that is cut down to the same size, just to see if I like the single knob type handle or if I want, you know, a pull type handle. I think the single knob handle is going to be fine. I think it's going to look good. That's what I have in the design. And if we switch back over to the design for a moment, that's what I've got kind of drawn in here, is that single pull handle, and I think it's going to be fine. I think it'll look good. And I think I'm thinking that with the cherry trim, the actual cherry trim with a nice clear coat finish on it, those bronze knobs and the white cabinets, I think it's going to look good. I'm hoping it looks like the photo. But let's talk about the panels for a moment. Let's get into Vectric here, and let's switch back to me. You're going to see my camera switcher jump up on the screen because, you know, I'm switching. But I'm going to stand up for a minute, and let's switch over to this other camera. Hey guys and girls, I'm over here. For the drawer fronts, I went with this, let's see if we can see the detail. This was the raised panel design, and we're going to talk about the 4 bits that I used to create this profile here. And on the side panels, these are 37 inches in length, 15 inches wide, and I've got a similar profile as the drawer front kind of at the top. And I wish my lighting was a little bit better in the shop. Maybe I can turn this light to help me out some. But this profile, and we'll talk about the 4 bits that I used to create this raised profile, but that's going to be the side panels here. And behind me, I've got the cabinet kind of glued up. The face frame is already glued to the sides here. I still got to put the back in, of course. The drawer front, I'm going to have a 16th inch of reveal. It's going to be a flush mount drawer front. I don't have it spaced properly right now because it's not connected. It's, just sitting there. But I'm going to have a 16th inch reveal all the way around on the drawers. And then the drawer boxes themselves, I haven't got them in there. It's just sitting in there right now. The drawer boxes itself is really good. I went with pocket hole joinery on the drawer fronts and backs and on the bottom and everything. So yeah, and that's what the inside of the drawer looks like. And so let's get this back in there. My little faux cabinet until I get everything put together. I got some spacers. I took some playing cards. Playing cards are the best kind of spacers. I sliced up some playing cards. I was losing at poker anyway, but for my spacers for right now. But I'll actually make some 16th inch spacers all the way around, so that when I put my drawer fronts in, they'll look exactly alike. But the cabinet itself I think it's going to look nice. Now, the one thing that we're going to talk about in the design is I had a dado groove, not a dado. I had a dado. Dado? Yeah, dado. I said dado groove. Groove is with the grain, dado's against the grain. Okay, I had a dado going across here that the desk was going to go in, right? And with that, I thought, man, I haven't milled the chair yet. It's rough sawn. I haven't milled it down to size, haven't glued up or made the cherry top yet and everything. And I don't want to, while I was on the CNC, I decided against milling that groove right now until I get that desk done, because I want the desk, even though it's going to be sitting on its corbels, I do want a groove cut in here, and I want it recessed in. The groove is going to stop right behind the face frame, so you're not going to see an opening here, and you're not going to see the cherry. It's going to be kind of closed off. But I thought to myself, I don't have that milled up yet, so what if I'm off? If I make my groove a certain size, and then I'm just off on the slab or the tabletop, I don't want to have to deal with that. So what I've decided to do is, that is the one and only part that I'm going to hand route. I've got my palm router. I'm going to just, I'll set up a jig and I'll palm route that dado in to the size that I need for my tabletop. I thought about just having the tabletop sitting on the corbels, secured and screwed in, just right up against here. And I want it kind of recessed in. I want it to be one, solid part for the most part, and everything. But I think the design that I chose with the bits and everything came out well. You let me know what your thoughts are, and we'll go from there. Now, let's go over to Vectric and let's talk about why I decided to use 4 different profile bits to create this profile versus the molding tool path, which we did in the initial design for you guys and girls. And we'll go from there. All right, so let's get over to the Vectric software. Camera 4, open this up. All right, so if you remember the class before last week where we actually kind of brought the drawer front and the outside panels into the software, you'll remember that we created a profile and we ran the molding toolpath to create these swept profile toolpaths for these panels. Well, one of the major deciding factors for me, because as you know, I'm on the DWC 2440, and I run pretty conservative with my bits anyway, but if we look at the toolpaths for the side panel with that swept profile and everything, oh, not the dado, and we look at the time, it was 25 hours per panel times 4, and I'd like to get this part of this video released by Thanksgiving, right? And I'm running out of days, so 25 hours per panel didn't cut it. It was 6 hours per panel on the drawer fronts, and there's 8 of them, so we were at 6 hours and 58 minutes to do the swept profile. And times 8, right? I have 8 of those. So that additional 48 hours I didn't want to deal with. So I had decided to switch my train of thought and work with profile bits. And I own some magnate profile bits. And I have the magnate profiles here so I could quickly add them to my tool database and everything. And I decided let's come over here and select this and zoom into it. I first started looking at profile bits that I could use and with their particular depths of cut and how far they lap over, I can create a custom profile. I could create a custom profile and things. And so with that, some additional lines, if you look at here, all I needed was an inside groove and a profile to create that swept profile. This didn't play a role at all, just this one and this one. Well, in the new one, I had to add some additional profile lines for the center of my bits. Now let's go back to me on camera here for a moment. And let's talk about the 4 bits. So the first bit that I used was a 1/4 inch upcut spiral bit. Okay, so that was bit number 1. The next bit was a magnate barley twist, 1 inch diameter barley twist bit. Let me see, I don't know, I'm trying to do the best way to get the profile so you can see that profile there. The barley twist bit. Then the third bit was the magnate rope bit. Let's see, I'm trying to get my hand in the way. I wish the lighting was better in the shop, but the rope bit, it's got kind of like a nice little V shape that comes down like this on the rope bit. That's also 1 inch diameter. And then a 1.5 inch diameter barley twist bit. Let's see here. So it's got that nice round over barley twist going on there. So that was the 4 bits that I used. And if we go back to the design, camera 4, go back to the design, I had to add the 4 bits, and there's 3 of them here visually that you can see. This is the rope bit, this is the barley twist 1 inch diameter, this is the barley twist 1.5 inch diameter, but I also had my 1/4 inch end mill that cut on the screws. So I had to add some additional lines to my drawing, some paths to follow. And by changing it up and running these particular profiles and everything, I was able to, let's do a 3D rendering of the design. Let's go with the raised panel, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Let's go into the 3D preview. and preview those visible toolpaths. Well, actually, let's reset that for a minute. Let's back up here. Let's reset that for a second. Let's kind of go one at a time so you can see what each one is doing. Notice the background here. I took a picture of one of my panels and I imported that picture into Vectric so I could create the toolpath on there so I could get a general idea of what this would look like. But let's take a look at our first bit here, and let's see, let's preview that visible toolpath. Alright, so this first bit, let's get over to here, is going to create this profile here. This is the rope bit that comes in and it creates a nice little, it creates a nice little lip here, and it has that curve to that V and everything, and I went 1/4 inch deep. So the depth of cut for the rope bit was 1/4 inch depth of cut. Alright, let's look at the next one. The next one, here we'll preview that one as well too. Okay, that's the rope bit. The next one was the 1 inch barley twist bit, and the only thing that this bit was used for, let's zoom in and look at the corner here. Hold on, not that far. The only thing that this was, this barley twist bit, it was 1/8 of an inch cut, and what it did is it created a little radius right here. That was the only thing that that bit did for that cut. And then following up with the 1.5 inch diameter bit, let's preview that. Okay, the 1.5 inch diameter bit had a shallow cut as well. I believe that was only 1/8 of an inch. No wait, hold on, how deep was that one? That cut was 0.2 inches. 0.2 inches, and that created this kind of raised effect here. And then I came back with an end mill, and right here on this edge right here, I milled that away with an end mill to get a flat profile, and to mill that away so that this would raise up, it would be a flat profile, and then it would step up to this little lip right here. So all in all, let me preview this one as well. If we look at the panel here, this was the profile that I ended up with overall. And let's zoom in and move up so you can see the corner. This was the profile overall here for this panel. And the time, the run times on this were a big difference. So the large panel run time was 32 minutes. Okay, so one panel 32 minutes from 25 hours, right? Big difference, big reason for changing. 32 minutes to run that. In all honesty, on my machine, this estimation was a little wrong. It only actually took 26 minutes to run, but that was the panel. Now the drawer fronts, the tool pass for the drawer fronts, we had our drawer fronts, and that was a 7-minute carve instead of 6 hours and 58 minutes. It was a 7-minute carve with the 3 tool pass. The rope bit was a 4-minute cut. The 1-inch diameter barley twist bit was a 1-minute 56-inch cut, and then the end mill, because there was only 3 bits on the top on the drawer fronts, not 4, 3. It was a 53-second cut. And so let's go back and look and see if you guys are talking to me and have any questions. Let's go back to here and switch this up for a minute and come back to you. All right, no questions so far. Okay. So I had a debate on my hand. I drew out that profile that we did in the class and everything, and using a 1/8 inch ball nose bit and a 1/4 inch end mill, to do the kind of the rough cut or the clearing cut, and an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose to create that profile, stepping over 8% of that 1/8 of an inch diameter bit. That carving for all, you know, the top of the cabinet and the bottom of the cabinet and everything, that carving would have run 25 hours to create this at my speeds and feeds, and on my machine and stuff. Well, by using the 3 bits, I was able to bring it down to 26 minutes for this panel. So the rope twist bit did this main profile down here that you see here at the bottom of the screen. Let me see where I'm at. Hold on, let me switch screens. I think I can switch screens and I'll be in a better view for you guys. Hold on a minute. Let's go to camera 1. Yeah. Okay. So that bottom profile, that was the rope twist bit that did that cut. Okay, all the way around. The 1 inch barley twist bit, literally just, I don't know if you can see how well you can see it, but just right here, it creates a little radius. So it only went down about 1/8 of an inch just to create this little radius right here, right before it raises up into this flat area. So that was what that profile did. Nice little accent. Then the 1.5 inch barley twist bit was this groove here, but you know, I didn't use the whole profile. I only went 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch deep with that cut, so it created this groove. Can you see this? This groove here, right here, where my finger is. And then finally wrapping up with the 1/4 inch end mill, it created this flat. Let's see if you can see that flat right here. It created that flat. Let me move my arm out of the way. Right there, just to give a little bit of a raise to this center piece. And so those 4 bits knocked off 23 hours or whatever it is. You know, quite a few hours. So brought it down to 26 minutes per panel, 7 minutes per drawer front times 8 of the drawer fronts. So I was able to knock out 8 of those in, you know, less than an hour. Yeah, so that was the decision for the design change in that software. Let's switch back over to here. So that was the reason for the design change, it was a big reason because I was like, okay, I'm filming this. I got to get this video out, at least part 1 of the build. You know, get the cabinets built and the drawers in or something. And then might do a second part of the video for the cherry accents and the desk and stuff for the final assembly. I don't know. I want to keep the video down to 20 minutes. 20 minutes for a build video. So there's a lot to do in a little time. And so time was a factor in this situation because it would have been, well, I'd still be carving those panels right now. That machine would still be running those panels if I would have went with the profile toolpath versus using 4 bits. And I'm a big advocate of, if you've got the bits, if you don't get them, but if you got them, you know, use them. And you can use a combination of bits at different cut depths and different overlaps and things like that to get different looking profiles and everything. So my bits created that panel effect that I wanted, gave me a nice look and little time to do it. So when you're sitting there looking at a molding toolpath and you're looking at picture frames and things like that, this, instead of the molding toolpath, it is a profile toolpath. and the center of the bit is cutting on the line to whatever depth that you want it to follow, right? Whatever path you want it to follow. And so when you're looking at picture frame molding, when you're looking at any kind of molding toolpath and stuff, and you've got a long runtime, you may want to sit there and rethink it and think, okay, you know, what type of bits are out there? OG bits, roundover bits, bullnose bits, rope twist bits, you know, barley twist and rope bits and things like that. Magnate's a great source. They have all kinds of cool profiles and stuff. MAGNATE, magnate.net. But you might look at using a combination of different bits to achieve a very similar goal in look and feel and whatever, aesthetics and everything, and reduce that runtime down, right? Cool. So, hopefully y'all can still hear me. All right. Now, let's go back into the design software. And for the design software, now I need to create the Corbels for the desk. So let's go back over and jump over into SketchUp here. And you're still looking at me, not this camera screen. Let's get back over to Vectric here. And I only have one screen to work with, so you're seeing my little switcher and everything that you normally don't see. But let's come in here. Now these parts, I decided not to go really crazy fancy with them and everything. I decided to keep it simple. Okay, the old KISS theory. KIS, I don't call anyone stupid, so KIS, keep it simple, right? Some people do KISS, I don't. All right, so if we look at this, very simple. These corbels are going to be 7 inches tall. They're going to be 5 inches wide. At the end here, we're going to step down 3/4 of an inch, and at the bottom here, we're going to step over. Let's try that again. We're going to step over 13/16. Let me see, that's, hold on a minute. Let me make sure I'm on my mark here. Yeah, 13/16. We're going to step over 13/16, and should kind of be 3/4, but that's okay, 13/16. And then we're going to have our arch here, right? Very simple parts, and I want to cut them on the CNC. I've got some wood here. We'll take a measurement of what I've got and see how many parts I can get out of it on what's left. I'm going to try to minimize my waste as much as possible with this. So let's jump back over to Vectric. I don't know why I opened that up. Let's go back over to Vectric. And I'm going to use my same project design here, keep everything all in one file. I'm just going to create a new sheet. And again, guys and girls, I know it doesn't have to be questions about the chest drawers. If you have any questions about anything, let me know, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to call this the Corbels. And we're going to edit this. Let me break out my tape measure. Alright, I've got one piece that is 16 3/4 inches long by 9 1/4 inches wide. And if I can't get all 4 of them out of that, then I don't think I can get all 4 of them out of that. We'll see what nesting does for me. But let's see here. 9 1/4 by 16 3/4. Okay. All right. So we're going to start off with a rectangle. I always start off with a rectangle for my shapes and everything. And our rectangle is going to be 5 inches wide by 7 inches tall. 5 by 7. Okay. So from here, we'll use a guideline so you can see on the guidelines. I'm going to use a guideline here, and I'm going to snap it right to here, and we're going to step down 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to make a parallel guide, negative, because we're going down, 0.75, and click create new guide. And let me just verify that was 0.75. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to take a guideline from the ruler on the left, put your mouse in there, hold down that left mouse button, drag it over and snap it. Right click on the guideline to get the properties box, and we're going to make a relative guideline positive 13/16. 13/16. Okay. Now, from these 2 points here, we're going to I'm going to go into node editing mode. I'll do it this way. It's a little simpler. Node editing mode, and I'm going to insert a point right there and zoom in, because you see I missed that guideline, so that you can drag that point over and snap it to that guideline. Sometimes if you're not quite zoomed in, it might not quite snap to it. Let's go here and zoom into this area. In node editing mode, I'm going to insert a point there, and I hit that one. And then with those 2 points added, I'm going to delete this point down here. Delete point. That'll give me a straight line. And then I'm going to turn that line into an arc. Not that way, this way. Okay? And I want that arc, I want the apex of this arc here, I want it to travel up that guideline that I have there. I don't want to overextend the arc where I'm kind of, coming back here, making this, skinnier and everything. I want just a nice arc. Let's see. Right about there. Okay. So that is going to be my very simple Corbel. No big deal. Now, if I wanted the arc to be a little bit more extreme up here, I can redraw it. Like if I wanted it to be a little not so wide up here. If we look at the drawing, let me turn the drawing sideways. Okay. If I wanted it to be, more narrow up here, then I could draw that arc in, or draw that extra line and kind of trim that area away there. But I just want a very simple Corbel, right? Nothing extravagant about it. I could put some decorative carving in there, but there's nothing real decorative about, the cabinet besides the raised panels on the side and the drawer fronts and stuff. So this will be really nice. Now that I have that, I'm going to turn my guidelines off, and now that I have this, I'm going to try to get out of node editing mode. I'm going to hold the control key down, and I'm going to bring a 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and I'm going to see if I can nest them. I doubt I'll be able to nest them all on this one little board, but let's see what it'll take for me. The tool diameter that I'm going to use is going to be 1/4 inch. The clearance, I want at least a 1/16 of an inch. And as far as the border gap, I can go right up to the border. I'm not worried about that. Let's go ahead and let's say that we can rotate it in 10-degree increments till it fits, kind of deal. And let's preview that and see what we get. There we go. So all 4 pieces can fit on that one board. All right, cool. Let's switch back to you guys and girls. And we have a question, so let's get back to me on camera. I think I'm on camera right here. All right, so Darwin Bradley, is anyone, good evening everyone, have y'all, happy Thanksgiving, Darwin. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. All right, question mark. Is anyone else buffering, or is it just me? No buffering. Just a couple seconds and going live. Let's see here, Laney. How much sanding was needed to clean up the 4 profile cuts? Great question. Great question. Okay. Great question. All right. So, this is pine, right? So it's a little fuzzy right on the edges right here where the bit was cutting. So little fuzzies were kind of sticking up along the edge in a few places around here, right? And running the sandpaper on this 220 sandpaper, just ran the sander. It brought it down, and it just they flaked right off. Okay. Then on the inside edge, and man, I wish my lighting was better. But on the inside edge right here, little fuzzy on that lip, that transition and everything. So I needed to sand around that inside on both the top and the bottom. That was all the sanding for this one. The drawer fronts, that was it. Just knocking off the little fuzzy edges, and that was it. The drawer fronts now, let's see if we can get this. Come on, camera. Here, hold on, I'm gonna switch cameras. Okay. On the drawer front, I'm going to get up really close and personal. You can see I haven't sanded this, right? You see the fuzzy? Can you see the fuzzies on the edge of that transition? This smooth lip right here, can you see that? So I just have to run a little bit of sandpaper, you know, to tighten that up. But that's not what I wanted to show you. Where the 1.5 inch barley twist bit went and the 1/4 inch end mill to create this flat spot, I don't know if you can see that little faint line. Trying to point to it. That little faint line right here. There's a faint line where the 2-bit transitions. I don't know if you can see that. And so I have to just touch that up. And it is the simple reason for that line being there is my barley twist bit came in and created the radius, and my end mill, I should have went instead of a 1/4 inch, instead of an 1/8 inch cut depth on the end mill, 0.125, I should have went 0.126. Should have went down just a little bit, and that would have, and I didn't want to, it didn't bother me, you know, having to clean it up. But if I would have went down just a little bit more with that flat, that transition would have been perfect. But that's it. That's all the cleanup. So the inside edges of this raised center area here, you can see kind of the fuzzies, and I know the lighting is terrible, but it is what it is. Let me see if I can get close. You can see that edge, that fuzzy, it's just little fuzzies, right? So just that, and that's all the sanding that there was, or that there is, that there will be. Now, is that all the sanding on the project? No, it's not all the sanding, because all of the drawer fronts, all of the sides, everything, all the corners, all the sharp edges had to be knocked off. You know, all the edges here, where the face frame and the side panel meet, you know, that had to be sanded to knock off that sharp edge. Don't want nobody, you know, cutting themselves on it and all that stuff. Lots of sanding that way. All the panels got a 220 with orbital sander, 220 sanding on their that. I haven't done the drawer fronts, the hand sanding part. I've got a little block of wood that has some sandpaper wrapped around it that I'll be able to just. That's my sanding noise. But I'll be able to just touch that up and stuff. But that's it. That's all that there was on the sanding. Very pleased with that because I hate sanding, and everything. And then pretty much once I'm just going to touch up a few little things, and then I'm going to blow everything off really well, and then prime and paint. prime and white paint. The only thing that let me switch cameras again. The only thing that I have to fix, if you will, let's see here. Was it one of the drawer fronts, or was it one of the drawers? It was one of the drawers, but the only thing I have to fix is I don't have a whole lot of room, right? And I had the drawers stacked up, and the pile got a little tippy, and then it fell. When it fell, it hit some machinery and tools and stuff that I had down below, put a big dent in the top of the, right on the edge in the top of the drawer. I'm going to sweat it out, water and steam, sweat it out and see if I can get that dent to expand. Whatever I can. It was a good dent. It was a dent, but though it wasn't a gouge or anything taken out of it, so I can sweat it out, some water and some steam to have that area expand back out, and then I should be able to clean up. I shouldn't have to do any kind of Bondo or anything like that before I do the prime and paint, you know. But yeah, other than that, that was it. So there's some cleanup and all. Let's see here. How do you do text on a curve? I did it before, but I can't remember it now. That's a great question, Darwin. So let's jump into Vectric real quick, and we'll jump over to this part of my design. And let's click OK on that. So there are two ways to curve your text. Number one, let's go over so you can you're not staring at me while I'm saying this. Let's go over to Vectric, and let's say that we have Darwin Bradley, and I hope I spelled the last name right, but we'll call it that. Okay. So there are two ways to curve your text. Number one, let's get this front and center on the screen. There we go. Is using the text, edit text spacing and curve tool, where we can bend the text up or flat. Use the bottom node to bend it down or flat. That's one way, right? The edit text spacing and curve tool, that's this tool right next to your two text boxes. It's the third icon on that third row. Now, wrapping text along a curve, that assumes that we have a curve in our drawing, okay? And that will be this tool, text on a curve. So if we open that up, you have to have a single line of text and select the curve that you want to wrap it to as well. This, in this case, my text is too long to fit the curve, so it's going to scale it down to fit. And then I can, with that scaling, I can change the scaling even more. I can adjust the spacing of my letters, you know, whatever the case may be. And I could be above the curve, and let's get that really front and center here. I could be above the curve, on the curve, or below it. I could start from the left side of the curve, the middle of the curve, or the right side. And I could have my text flow with the curve, or I could keep my text vertical as it curves. Either one, and I prefer to flow with the curve. And that is the two ways that you can wrap text on a curve. This tool, text on a curve, needs a curve drawn to wrap your text to. Edit text spacing and curve, that will arc your text. So that will arc your text either up and down, or concave or convex, right? Whichever way you want to go. So that is the two ways to put text on a curve, Darwin Bradley. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Any other questions, guys? Yeah. Well, let me at least give you an idea of what's to come, right? And things like that, because I've got the 4 Corbels laid out. Now I got to create the toolpath for them, right? So let's do that real quick. Let's get rid of Darwin. Not Darwin, don't go anywhere. I'm just getting ready in the design. Hold on. Let me get rid of your name. There we go. All right, let's switch back over to the... That was funnier if you could have seen the design. Not looking at me when I said that. That's funny. Okay. All right, let's get back over to my corbels. All 4 of them... Where are you at there, buddy boy? All 4 of them can fit on my board with the spacing that I require. Let's go ahead and create the toolpath for those. So it's going to be a profile toolpath. I'm going to be cutting 3/4 of an inch deep with a 1/4 inch end mill on the outside of the line. I'm going to add tabs to this. With parts this small, I would usually do double-sided tape, but I'll go ahead and add some tabs. And I'm just going to throw 4 tabs on each part. No, that's too aggressive. Let's get rid of that. I don't need 4 tabs for that part. Let's go 3 tabs. Okay, we'll go 3 tabs. This one is going to be useless right there, so I will move it down here. These 2 I will move back to back so it reinforces that material right there, because there's not going to be any material in between those. And this one is going to be useless. There's no point in it being there, so I'll move it down here at the end. This one is going to be useless here, so, and it's going to be useless there, so I will add 2 up here just for a little extra reinforcement. This one down here is going to be useless, so I'll put it over here. And there we go. Let's go ahead and calculate that. Alright, let's preview that cut. Alright, I missed a tab right there. That tab is useless down there. Let's see here. Let's take a look. So I missed a tab right there. Let's go back into that profile toolpath, edit the tabs, and this one right here is useless. So I'll get rid of it. Okay, don't need it there. Alright, recalculate that, and that will be my 4 corbels. To cut out those 4 parts. So out of my little scrap piece of wood, and I've still got some scrap over here, I could do whatever I want with it if there's something small that I need to make. And yeah, that's it. So let's switch back over to me. And oh, my nose itches. Let's see here. Harvey, did we change days to Monday? Today is not Monday. Don't do that to me. Today is Tuesday. So I don't know what did we change days to Monday. What happened on Monday? Today is Tuesday, right? Don't, hold on. Today is Tuesday. Yeah, today's Tuesday, Harvey. Don't do that to me, man. Alright, let's see here. It's Tuesday. Let's see. Mark Lindsay talked about modeling resolution Sunday. Do you ever go beyond the very high 7 times in your 3D models? Yes. When I'm creating 3D models, I will use either the extremely high or the maximum, which when I'm creating models in my Aspire or something. If I import a model and everything, the models that I import are generally high resolution, and also I will I will do the extremely high when I'm creating a tool paths for the carving. For the most part, the 7 times higher is fine, but if you want to get to that those secret 2 extra resolutions, you hold your shift key when you click create a new file, and they'll be there. Just keep this in mind. You could be an extremely high resolution, but you could import a low resolution model, and you cannot change a resolution of a model. So the models that you get from, if you're in VCarve Pro and desktop or what have you, but the models you get from Design and Make, and the models that are part of your Vectric software, they're at a certain resolution. The models that you get from Etsy or eBay or what have you, your STLs and OBJ models and stuff, whatever resolution they were created in, low poly count, those triangulations and everything, when you import them in, you could import them into an extremely high resolution project. It's not going to change it whatsoever. Okay? It's still a low resolution model. What our goal is by using that higher resolution is if there's any pixelation in the 3D view in that model, if there's any pixelation around the model, that pixelation will translate over to the quality of the finished cut. So by going to the higher resolution, we're using more pixels or more points in that 3D view to remove that resolution, or those pixelations, to remove as much pixelation as we possibly can, because that pixelation in your model, when you're zooming in looking at a model and there's a lot of pixelation because you're in a low resolution, that will translate over to the quality of the finished cut. But that's really the main purpose and all, because we can't change the resolution of an existing model that we import in. Now, if we're creating models from scratch in Aspire, absolutely, we want to be in an extremely or maximum level of resolution, because we're building that model, right? So we're building it at our resolution from scratch. So that take that as whatever information you can adjust from it, but it's always important to know that when you buy a model, hopefully it's a high resolution model, because if it's a low poly count, if you ever see the term low poly, steer clear of it and all that. Just means there's a lot of triangulation on it, and you're never going to really smooth that out and everything. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Laney, what bits would it take to make a raised panel door look out of one piece of wood? So, the thing that you want to do is, if you're going to achieve that where it looks like 2 rails, 2 stiles, with the little groove cut where it looks like a glue joint on the panel, or the frame, and then the raised panel end, when you create your box frame, you're going to create lines to create that faux with a V-bit. You're going to create lines to create that faux joint look. But as far as the raised panel, you could do that with a molding toolpath and an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose, and draw out the profile that you want. Or you can find a profile bit that kind of meets your needs, a cove bit or something. And all, you're not going to really use a panel bit. They're quite big, like that you would see on a shaper molder or a router, that you would run on your router table for those raised panels and all. Not really going to run those too much on most machines. Now, Camaro and them, they could run a big panel bit on their machine up to 2 inches in diameter. It's built rigid, it's a tank and stuff like that. But a mid-size unit or hobby unit and things like that, you're not going to run a bit that long. There's just going to be, it's not going to be enough rigidity or power behind it, to run that bit. So you're going to have to use a smaller profile bit to create the profile you want, or use the molding toolpath. And if we were to simulate that very quickly in here, I'll just create another window sheet. Let's just do another sheet. New sheet. Panel edit. Let's make this panel door, let's make it 12 inches wide and 24 inches tall. Just made it'll be a small panel, 3/4 inches thick. Okay. All right. So the thing that we want to do here is let's get out of the toolpath side of the software in our drawing tools. I'm going to start off with a border. And I want my frame, my rails and stiles to be 1.5 inches, right? So I'm going to offset inward 1.5 inches, square corners, delete the original, and that's going to create my panel, my frame, my rails and my stiles. All right, now in here, let's go ahead and offset this in. Let's go in from there. Let's go 2 inches inward. There we go. And let's come up with a profile. So my profile is going to be 2 inches wide, and I'm going to go 0.5 inches deep with it. All right, let's zoom into that. Now, bearing in mind, this is going to be that center raised area, right? So keep that in mind, right? And I want my profile to have a step down, and then I want it to, come into whatever shape it's going to be. Now, as we get, let's go into node editing, and I'm going to bring this down to here, real low. I'm going to insert a point right here. I will come in, turn that to an arc. Ooh, not that way. And let's, my raised area is only going to be 3/4 of an inch tall. So I'm going to make this 3/4 tall. I don't know why I did that. That was silly, boys and girls. Don't do what I just did. Yeah, 3/4. Okay, it's 3/4. Cool. All right, so let's get this. I want about an 1/8 inch lip right here. It's going to come down, and let's go back into node editing. I'm going to insert a point. Now I want these two nodes to line up to one another. So I'm going to select this node, the one I want to align to. I'm sorry, I'm going to select this node first, and then the one I want to align to last. I'm going to hit the letter X to pull that straight up and down. And if you want it to look kind of like a real raised panel, then it's going to be real thin here because that's 1/4 of an inch going into that dado. Now there's on your rails and all, your rails also have a neat little profile that go into that and everything. Since you're not doing it on the rails, you could simulate that here. So we could come in and let me bring this back here. Take this, and I'm going to hit the letter Y on the keyboard to pull that straight. I'm going to turn this into an arc. I haven't seen a raised panel door in a while, so bear with me. I'm not sure exactly what profile I'm going here. Get rid of this point right here. Alright, I want to select this and this. I'm going to hit the letter X to pull that straight again. Okay. All of this I want to lower down. I don't know, somewhere right there. That'll be good. Let's say that this is my profile here. So we get rid of this box. This here, in node editing, we get rid of this bottom line. Delete that span. There's my profile. And now let's go back over and I'll just throw my profile into the middle of my design just for shits and giggles so we can see it better. There we go. Excuse my language. Alright. Now with the molding toolpath, I can come in and create this profile. I'm going to use a I could use a 1/4 inch ball nose for that. I'll use an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose. Bear with me. Oh, I'm in my laptop computer. I don't do any designing on here, so I don't have any of my bits set up. Let me create a new bit real quick. Okay. This is going to be a tapered ball nose. It's going to have a 1/4 inch diameter. It's going to have a 3.6 degree side angle with a tip radius of a 1/16 of an inch. It'll be a 2 flute. It'll have a pass depth of a 1/16 of an inch. It doesn't do passes, but that's okay. 8% step over, 20%, and we're going to run it at 18,000 RPMs. We're going to run it 55 inches a minute. Okay, so we'll select that, and for a clearance tool we'll use a 1/4 inch end mill. And we will calculate that toolpath. Oh, nope. We want square corners. We need this to look like a raised panel. So check the box that says square corners. And none of you are seeing any of this because you're looking at me on camera because I didn't switch cameras. And I can't see you because I only have one screen. It's hard getting used to one screen again. Alright, let's go back and redo that. So, let's go back and redo that. Turn this off. Alright. You didn't see any of that. So, I'm going to undo this all the way to this point, this step here. Alright. This box here just represents the center of my panel. So, it's going to be like a little 1/8 inch reveal. Start off with a rectangle and we sweeped this out, and I've got a little raise right here and all. So we come in here, delete that, and in node editing mode, N on your keyboard, N for node, we're going to delete this bottom span. We don't use that. So with that span, let's get out of node editing mode and put this on the middle of the board so you can see it better. Can't believe all of that. None of you saw any of that. So basically, if I go into node editing mode, we added an extra node here and we turned this little part into an arc just to raise it up a bit. And we turned these 2 points, the line in between, into an arc to give this nice little curve here. Now, with that selected going into the swept profile, I want sharp corners so it looks like a panel, and I'm using an 1/8 inch tapered ball nose. We added in a new tapered ball nose that was a 1/4 inch diameter with a 3.6 degree taper, 1/16 inch radius on the tip, 2 flute, making a 1/16 of an inch per pass, stepping over 8%, 20% clearance pass step over, 18,000 RPMs, running at 55 inches a minute, and 15 for the plunge. We're using a 1/4 inch end mill for the clearance tool, and we're going to calculate this toolpath. Alright, we're going to preview that visible toolpath. And we're going to change the color when it's done. Okay, let's change the color to, we'll just go with Canadian Maple for right now. Alright, now, right here, you see this step down? That's a no-no. That's not supposed to be there. Right? So, that's because in my profile, I left this leg right here in that profile. This leg right here. So I'm going to go back into node editing mode and delete that span because the router bit wanted to come down and cut. That was a no-no. So delete that span. So this is the profile that I want here. Okay. All right. Let me look at my 3D view and make sure the profile on the other side is good. And it is. Perfect. All right, let's recalculate that toolpath with the correct profile this time. Let's reset that preview and preview that visible toolpath. So the 1/4" end mill is going to come through and rough away that stuff. Alright, the ball nose bit will come in and create that transition. Okay, now we're not done yet. So now we have this kind of inset panel here and everything. Now we need to make this look like it is a rail and style, you know, in here. So we're going to take a line. Let me get to my line tools. And we're going to draw a line from here, 90 degrees straight up. Let's actually go a little past. There we go. And I'm going to take that line and I'm going to mirror it. About job center, create a copy. I'm going to flip it horizontally, vertically, and horizontally again. Okay. Now, the start point is very important for this because I'm going to be doing a profile cut. And I'm going to be cutting with a V-bit, 22 degree V-bit. 60 degree is fine in this example. But I'm literally only going to be cutting maybe 32nd, if that. So 22 would get a finer line. Okay, a finer line. But I'm going to be cutting on the inside of that line, and where my line starts and where the line ends is very important because it will either carve on the outside or the inside. Even though this says inside left, it all depends on where the line starts. So if I calculate this and I come in and look at this in a solid view, you can see already that this line, even though I said on the inside, it's starting on the outside. And the reason for that, if I go into node editing on that line, the start point is here. That means I'm standing right here looking at this start point, and this is my left, this is my right. I need the start point to be up here. So if this was the start point, get there, you can do it. Hold on a minute. Don't argue with me. Today's start point. Oh, let's get rid of this point. That doesn't need to be there. Delete that point. Okay. Right here. If I make this the start point, now I'm standing here looking at this start point, which this is my left, this is my right. Okay, I want to carve on the left side of the line. So when I come in and I recalculate this toolpath, it'll be carving on the left side of that line. That's what I want. Now I need to do that, make sure that it's carving on the correct side of the lines for all of them. On this one, I need to carve on, the start point needs to be at the bottom, the left side. So go into node editing mode, start points at the bottom. That's good. That one's fine. We can get rid of this point right here. We don't need that. Alright, come down here. This one, I need to carve on the left side. If I'm looking this is the left side here, so that's no good. We're going to delete that point, and we're going to make this one down here the start point. So it carves on the left, my left. Alright, let's go over here. Do the same thing with this one. Get rid of that point. Alright, left side of the green node. You're standing behind the node looking at it, looking down the way that arrow's pointing. This is your left, this is your right, left side, so that's correct. Let's go back in and select these 4 lines. Those two, and calculate. Let's try that again. And calculate that toolpath. And preview the visible toolpath. And we come in here, we get that little faux glue joint line. Now, you see where it's at? It needs to be here in the corner, not over here, right? My line is in the wrong place. My line needs to be right perfectly in line with this rail right here. Okay? In line with that. So, if we look at the swept profile and we zoom in, we can see, and I'm in solid view, so I got solid view turned on up here so I can see the blue lines. And you're going to do some chisel work to clean up your corner as well too. But this line needs to be out here. Okay, right on this edge. Needs to be there. Alright, clean up your corners with some chisel work and stuff. But, so, with that there, I'm going to mirror that one. I'm going to get rid of these others so I don't have to sit there and drag each one of them, because it's going to be the same all the way around. Delete, delete, delete. Let's get in the center of the screen so everybody can see. Well, that was a total fail. Hold on. Alright, so I need to be out here on this line, okay? Because my bit is going to cut on the inside of this line, and I don't want it cutting way over there where it's at, right? So when I come in on this toolpath and I calculate it, you want that line to transition right with this one, right? Come in here. So let's reset. Well, let's not reset just for a moment. Yeah, let's reset. Preview all the toolpaths. Now the other 3 lines are not correct. I just did one for now, but preview all toolpaths. 30-second might be a little bit too deep with a 60-degree V-bit, but we want just a nice faint line so it looks like a glue joint on those rails and stiles. And that's how you would fake a faux panel. You want it a little bit deep because when you're sanding, cleaning things up, you don't want to sand away your lines. But when you paint this or do whatever, you want that faux joint, you know, where that rail and stile go, where that stile and that rail join together. Okay, so, and then, you know, clean up your corner, make it a little square, whatever, but that's what you want, right? Kind of, and you're going to do that on all 4 sides, so it looks like 4 sticks, you know, rails, 2 stiles with a raised panel frame, you know, in the middle, whatever profile you decide. Okay, let's go back to me here. and go back to here. Okay. All right. So Jeff, that was, oh, there's a little buffering. Hold on. Stand by, we got some buffering going on. Alright, we got some buffering, guys. Sorry about that, and girls. Donnie Reese, hope you left. Alright, so the everybody makes mistakes in a live event, so have a good day, sir. Alright, let's see here. Hopefully that gave you somewhat of an idea, right? How to create a fake faux panel on a out of a single board, piece of MDF or what have you, right? So now if you can find some profile bits that you can create use multiple bits with a simple profile cut to reduce your runtime, like I did, you do that as well. But if you want to create that little railing style look with the little faux lines, looks like a glue joint, then you can do that. Cool. Alright, so I'm going to switch up computers here, and we're going to wrap up this evening with me just saying this. So what I've got to do left on the cabinet, besides of course put it all together, is on the inside of the cabinets here, because the face frame and the drawers and all are going to be sitting, they're going to be recessed in the face frame flush. They're not overlaid. Because they're flush and everything, the face frame here overlaps by 3/4. And so my spacing between the drawer box and, let's turn this sideways here. Here, my drawer slides are a 1/2 inch thick, so I have to account for 1 inch. You know, a 1/2 inch on one side, a 1/2 inch on the other. Well, I have more than that because the panel is back behind this face frame. There's a lip here. So I've got these 2-inch runners that are going to get glued in. When they're glued in, they'll be flush with the face frame so that my drawer slides can mount to that and then have my drawers put in. So I've got to lay out and get those installed, get the drawer boxes in, and get the drawer slides on. You'll see all that in the video, and we'll get this thing put together and stuff. But I got to get on the CNC and carve the 4 corbels. Should only take a few minutes to knock those out. This will be the scrap piece of wood that I measured that I'm going to be cutting them out of. So we'll set this aside for the corbels, and that's it. So hopefully tonight's event was somewhat useful to you, and stuff like that. But we'll get there. Yeah, thanks, Tom. I appreciate you. Let me get back to here real quick. I appreciate that, Tom. But you know, I was designing, and I have a TV screen to see what y'all see, and I looked at myself twice while I was doing that design, and I still didn't realize in my head at that particular moment that y'all were watching me and not the computer screen, the Vectric of me laying out that profile. It happens, you know. We're in a live environment. I'm working on a laptop versus my system inside. When I'm doing classes, I've got 4 screens in front of me, and everything is on its own screen. That, you know, I'm buffering. I'm watching myself buffer on my computer. I don't know why, but it's just, it is what it is. And it is. Let me see if I can close some things. Alright. Sorry guys and girls, we had some buffering. What I was saying is it's you know, I made a mistake. Y'all were looking at me instead of the design. You know, I'm on a laptop, I'm on, you know, I'm out in the shop, you know, I've got shit everywhere. I'm used to having the 4 screens where everything is on its own separate screen so I can see what's going on, and it happens. So sorry that some people didn't like that. Sorry about the buffering too, you know, that too. So that could be annoying as well, but you know, I'm out in the shop. I haven't really built up the internet great out here, but we got through it. Alright. Darwin, I would call you, but I don't know your number, so you call me after the show. That'll be fine. You know my number. If not, it's on the website, digitalwoodcarver.com. Alright. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully in a couple of days you'll see at least the first part of this build video released. That'll be good to get that out, and then we'll probably come back and do the cherry accents and everything. But yeah, now it comes down to putting it all together, right? I got a puzzle with a bunch of pieces. Now it's time to build it and get it finished up. So we'll see you next week. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and give a like if you like. If not, that's fine. But check us out at buildittv.com and buy some models. I could use the money. Until next time, thanks everyone. You're appreciated. See ya.